let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde season started on July 15th. So, before Mercury goes retrograde, there's always a period before where things kind of start slowing down before the planet kind of seems like it pauses and then does its reverse thing, right? So, the retrograde doesn't actually start till August the 5th, but we've already started feeling the effects of it. So typically, whatever you start experiencing during the pre-shadow phase, lets you know what the vibes might be like during the actual retrograde. So you'll want to pay attention to that. Make little notes for yourself or whatever. Just be on top of things. I feel like it's also an opportunity to course correct, because in my personal experience, when I've had issues during retrograde, it was because you know how like your mom when you're little says, if you don't tie your shoes and you start running, you're going to trip and fall. And you trip and fall. You didn't trip and fall because it was Mercury retrograde. You tripped and fell because you didn't cross your T's and dot your I's, right? So sometimes there are things that are out of our control, but other times Mercury retrograde frustrations occur as a reminder of areas of your life where you need to like double check or prepare differently for certain things. Okay? So the retrograde is August 5th through 28th. And then the post shadow phase, which is kind of like the hangover effect and everything starts wearing off, in September the 12th. So from the 28th, things will lighten up, but it'll kind of taper off as you go. Now, right now, Mercury is at 29 degrees Leo. It is at the last degree of Leo, and it's about to move into Virgo. Mercury actually feels really good in Virgo. It's comfortable there because when Mercury is in Virgo, it allows the process of thinking and processing to be more refined, right? Mercury in Leo is about having a stage, being creative with your speaking, being confident, being kind of fixated and fixating on ideas. Well, Virgo is a mutable sign, so it helps to look at both sides of things, but then also go through it with a fine-tooth comb to see what actually makes sense versus what doesn't, to get to the nitty-gritty of things. This is why Mercury is at home, not just at home in Virgo, but exalted in Virgo. It's like, if we want to put Mercury somewhere, let's put it in Virgo because it's going to get the job done. So with this energy, you might find that you are more focused on purifying things, right? Virgo is also the sign of purification. And when I say that, I mean exactly what I explained earlier. Because when you're going through things with a fine-tooth comb and getting rid of what doesn't make sense and just pruning things away, you have a much more clear, pure understanding of things. Now, I don't think there's anyone that will disagree with me. Virgo energy can be nitpicky sometimes. So whether you have Virgo energy or you are in the spirit of this Mercury in Virgo, because when the planets move, we all, as a collective, kind of lean into that energy too. If you find yourself being super critical and nitpicky, take a step back, take a few deep breaths, and know that it's okay to have constructive criticism and it's okay to explore, but you don't want to be too judgmental of yourself and others, right? And if you want to make suggestions for someone, ask them, hey, I have some ideas. Are you open for suggestions? Because of the Virgo ability to comb everything and easily find solutions, there's also this exuberance to just share whatever they have because they know it's gonna hit. And most of the time it really does hit. But if people aren't open and receptive, it feels more condescending or like overstepping than useful. So that's something important for everybody to remember when Mercury gets in Virgo, which is, I didn't check. But if it's at 29 degrees today, I would say within the next day or two. I didn't check the specifics, but that's about to happen. The other thing I was going to say is that it happens at 4 degrees Virgo. So if you have any planets or placements around close to 4 degrees in Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you might feel this retrograde more strongly as it's getting started. So you want to make sure you're double checking your emails before you pop off on somebody. You ask for clarification. Drive safely. Don't text while you're driving. Um, don't wait to the last minute if you have deadlines at work or if you need to send something in the mail, because delays can happen. Even if you're submitting something online, there's no guarantee that once you hit send, the server's going to do it is supposed to do in the timely fashion you want it to happen. And considering all the stuff we just had happen with cybersecurity during the shadow phase of Mercury retrograde, I would not be surprised if there are more of those shenanigans to come. So make sure you are backing up your files, and I would say not just in a cloud system, but printing things off that are important. That includes photos. A lot of us just have our photos stored in the cloud. I've already shown you how to look up your chart and find what your rising sign is. And once you know what your rising sign is and you're looking at that natal chart, you can see what house, which area of life for you is impacted by Mercury being in Virgo and then Mercury going back into Leo. So if you look at that, it will give you clues and indicators about what area of your life you might experience delays or feel like you need to redo things. For me personally, Virgo is my ninth house of astrology. Even though it's at 29 degrees Leo and it's about to tip into Virgo, I'm already thinking about ninth house things I need to do, like astrology, spirituality. Is my website updated? What else do I need to work on for Patreon? Okay, sorry, my video cut off, so I had to start over. But for me, I'm already thinking about what I need to redo in terms of making sure my website is up to date. My services are listed in a way that are clear and accurate based on what I want to be providing right now. Right now, Mercury is still in Leo, and that's my eighth house. The eighth house is intimacy, debt, other people's stuff, gains from other people. And the whole time Mercury has been in Leo, I've been thinking about my debt and what I need to do to fix it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to apply for a debt consolidation loan because the credit card interest is crazy. I still haven't done it yet, but I'm guessing that as Mercury retrogrades and dips back into Leo, it will get taken care of. So you see how, like, our brains, our attention kind of goes with the flow of the planets. So look at your chart, see where Virgo is, and know that when Mercury gets there, your attention is going to be there. When it starts retrograding, you'll be thinking about what you can redo, reassess, reevaluate. In that area, and then the same for Leo. Now, it'll go back as far as 21 degrees Leo, and then it'll stop and be ready to go forward again. Mercury retrogrades are not necessarily the best time to start something new. And the reason for that is because during retrograde periods, you're reassessing things, like you're really exploring and examining to figure out what needs to happen, and you don't have enough information because that whole retrograde period is for you to go inward and gather information and process it so that when it's over you come out with more clarity. The interesting thing about Mercury retrograde is it has, like, dual experience. Certain things become more clear to you because things have slowed down and you're having an inward process. But even with that, there are still pieces that are missing or don't make complete sense until things are moving forward again. So I always tell people, journal. If you have ideas that come to you, definitely write them down so that when retrograde is over, you can move forward. Now, there will be times where you can't say, I can't wait to do this. It has to get done now. That's fine. I don't believe in living your life in fear based on the transits and stuff like that. Like, none of us would ever get anything done. So just overlook things, have a second pair of eyes, look over your plans or ideas if it's something you're trying to launch, if there's something you need to submit. And know that a lot of times things you start doing Mercury retrograde, you're going to be going back to fix it later. I've said this before on my social media, but my initial website I had when I was doing favorite and free and selling shirts, I launched that website maybe right before Mercury retrograde, and at that point I don't think I knew enough about the shadow phase, and it just always was something. But anytime Mercury retrograde has come around, because that was the time that I submitted my papers to the state to LLC my business, and I launched my website, and I did all of it. Anytime a Mercury retrograde comes back around, I find myself revamping my business, rethinking what I'm doing, rebranding, like just all this stuff. So keep that in mind. I also tell people I wouldn't buy a car during Mercury retrograde because you don't always see or know the things you should be concerned about until after the fact. Prime example, my mom, her car got totaled, and she had to get a car. She found one that she liked. She had already gotten approved for her loan, so she was working within a certain time frame. And we went and we looked at the car, and it seemed cool. There was one thing about it that we didn't really notice at first, but then we noticed as far as the paint and the shades being off, and that was one thing. I can't remember if they said they would fix it, they could do a paint job to fix it, or if she said she was okay with it. I don't remember. But Mercury retrograde, us not crossing all the T's and dotting our I's, we never raised the hood to look under the hood of the car, and we didn't check for certain things. She buys the car, takes it to a mechanic so he can, check it. And he told her, you need to take this car back. it was a car. I'm not gonna say it was a flood car, but it probably was. The whole underside of the car was rusted. In the doors, you could tell where seat belts and stuff had been replaced, and just all these other signs of wear and tear from flood damage that we didn't notice. We didn't even think to check about. We were so just like trying to get it done, even though we thought we were being careful and cautious. We like there were things that we skipped. So, needless to say, she ended up returning the car, which she got her money back, but there was this whole hassle of delay in terms of money being transferred back and this and that and whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop. So she was like, we can wait until after retrograde to get the next car, and found a similar car, much better condition, much better price, I think, and everything. So that's one of the reasons I would say I wouldn't get a car during Mercury retrograde, because even if you think you're being careful and checking everything, it's easier for things to slip our mind. So we thought we were checking everything. We pushing buttons, test driving, do the seats go back, but we still missed important stuff. So those are all the thoughts I have right now. Lead with curiosity, ask questions, don't make assumptions, don't be arguing with people online. Assume the best of people unless you find out something different, because miscommunications are going to be swirling about. People are going to be a little bit more nitpicky for a while. Don't take it personal. It's just the astro weather. So that's all I got in terms of Mercury retrograde. If you think of questions, drop them in the comments below, and I will work on the Neptune retrograde video, because that was the other one that y'all voted for. Thanks for being here.